Hello, Sweet Tooth Hero. Hope your day is going well. Gonna play some more Katawa Shoujo. I'm saying that wrong. But I'll just keep saying it wrong until the end. Anyways, let's pick up where we left off. Where did I leave off? Oh, right. The combination of fatigue, frustration, and boredom starts making me feel very tired. It was after that meeting with Kenji in the bathroom, asking for money. I black out for a second, waking up when my head hits the surface of my desk. Rubbing my forehead, I realize this is as good a reason as any to stay up for now and stop coming to class so early later. Eventually, I hear a tapping noise outside in the hallway, and Lily's tall figure appears in the doorway. She's not in this class, so she must have some other business. Maybe she's looking for Hanako. Lily stops at the door, looking hesitant, as if she was a vampire who can't come in unless invited. I considered doing so, but because she looks rather lonesome standing there. She steps in on her own accord, though, after straightening her skirt and shirt collar, as if it was of importance to look prim when entering our classroom. Excuse me. She calls into the quiet classroom with a probing, delicate voice. I realize the silence might unnerve her because of her blindness, so I break it. Good morning, Lily. Sal? Good morning. I didn't hear you come in. I wonder if she thinks it's suspicious I didn't say anything to her before. It's likely. If I were to tell too big a lie now, it would sink me. Well, I was already here, just asleep until now. Oh, have you seen Hanako today by any chance? No, she seems to come in only just before the bell rings, or after that. Do you want me to tell her something for you? No, it's fine. It's strange, but I think we're the only two people in the school right now. I didn't hear anyone else on my way here. I shouldn't have gotten up so early, I guess. You're chastising yourself for doing something what other people should? Punctuality is a good thing. I think so, anyway. It's a very busy morning today. The festival is coming up soon, and today is the deadline for event registration, budget reports, and any other official paperwork. It could be that everyone is trying to complete the necessary forms at the last minute. Maybe that is why it's so quiet today. Ah! Hi! Misha pops into the room with Shaizun as if on cue, chatting with a loudness that makes Lily visibly flinch. Hi-chan! Yeah, I can't really raise my voice that high. Ah! I can't even speak really well right now. Hi! My tongue feels like rubber. Look, it's the class representative. Hello! Lily smiles, probably amused by Misha's or Shaizun's use of the word look! Good morning! Of course you're not the representative of this class, right? Right? I'm not. Lily seems a little more guarded in her answers to Shaizun than she was with me the other day. I guess they really don't get along at all. Then I realized that Lily might actually not know Shaizun is present, and she's trying to detect whether or not she is, to know who she is talking to. For all she knows, she's talking to Misha, but knowing that she and Shaizun are practically inseparable, she might expect Shaizun being the one that actually talks. Damn, how complicated. I decide to help Lily out for my own peace of mind more than anything else. You're here early, Shaizun. You were here early, even earlier than us! Misha puffs out her cheeks angrily. Why is she getting angry? Does she feel emotions on Shaizun's behalf too? It's not that weird though, that Shaizun didn't act like my little comment. It's true, I was here earlier than them, so me saying something like that could definitely be misinterpreted as anything. Especially to Shaizun, who doesn't have the benefit of hearing tone to gauge intent. So much reading. Before I can start weighing whether or not I should apologize, Shaizun has already moved on. Class rep, it's a good thing you're here. We have to talk. The festival's coming up in 3 days, right? Every other class has already handed in their projected budget reports for their events, even the first years, except you. And she laughed. There's still time to hand it in, isn't there? Today. The deadline is today. You're certainly taking your time, aren't you? If I had it my way, I'd have all of the necessary paperwork days ago, but someone had to say the deadline, please extend it. Yes, that was me. Planning something on this scale is not a small task, and a week is too small a time frame to expect a whole class to work out such a complex issue completely. Do you want to know what's harder than distributing the funds for one class event? Handling the same matter for every class in the school and then some. The one who does that is me. Misha puts her hands on her hips and stands up straight. Wow, she's really getting into the role. Lily doesn't look like she's very amused, though. Hey, Shaizun, aren't you being a little too hard on her? There's still a whole day left. Please, Hisao, it's alright. Lily seems happy I'm taking her side, but a bit conflicted that I might not think she can take care of herself. If this is about the budget, then I'm disappointed you think I have forgotten about it. I understand how important it is. Then can I have it, please? Shaizun, she might not have it on her at this exact second. It's not here right now. I asked 2 students to take care of it for me, students from my class. She emphasizes the last sentence, much to my surprise. She knows about Shaizun and Misha's efforts to rope me into the student council. I guess word must have gotten around, so now she's using me as ammo against Shaizun. This just gets better and better. It was your responsibility. A budget report isn't something you should just be delegating away. As class rep, it's your job to be on top of things. This kind of disregard for proper procedure is just really, really terrible. They completed it, being capable of doing so, but the students have been sick recently, so they could not come to school and give it back to me. If you want, I will apologize on their behalf for getting sick. Okay. Although Misha misses Lily's little jab entirely, Shaizun doesn't, and she seems torn between being offended by Lily's daring and jumping for joy at the prospect of a challenge. Lily, don't they live here at the school? That's a 5-minute walk, you know. What could they possibly have that prevents them from taking 5 minutes out of their busy lives to drop off something that would affect the enjoyment of their entire class? Lily opens her mouth to say something, but Shaizun closes the gap between them and starts signing furiously, waving her hands around like an orchestra conductor. Misha tries her best to convey the same passion, but can't seem to lose her normal cheerful tone. The result is interesting and somewhat surreal. And what's with that attitude? I said that it's not something you should be delegating away. Are you the class representative or aren't you? Tell me the names of those 2 students. They should have your job if you can't even handle something this simple yourself. One form isn't the full extent of what I am supposed to take care of. Lily's tone is growing slightly impatient, but she is doing a good job of not letting Shaizun see how unsettled she is becoming. She's playing her cards close to her chest. Shaizun, on the other hand, wraps her fingers cheerfully along the edge of her glasses, knowing Lily can neither hear nor see how excited she is. Of course. You do so much, class rep. It must be so difficult being you. Lily tightens her lips at Misha's words, clearly understanding in the intent behind them, even though Misha delivers them without even a hint of the sarcasm which they were meant to have. Shaizun and Lily don't like each other. That much is clear, but this seems a little much. It seems like Lily has had enough and is ready to push back. I was actually just discussing the budget report before you came by. You must be very talented to have finished all your student council duties so quickly that you can track me down to make sure I don't forget my own. Are you accusing me of slacking off? It seems like you're confusing me with yourself. I don't think so. That would be a very difficult thing for me to do, comparing myself to you. You're right. The difference between us is like heaven and hell. And it's not hard to guess which one you might represent. The air between them ripples with the heat of their enmity. Well, not really. They can't disguise it anymore, though. Even Misha looks like she's beginning to understand the real nature of this conversation. Ichan, don't you slack off either. What are you talking about? Aren't you taking part in the festival, Ichan? You are, aren't you? Then I hope you're going to do a lot more to make sure it goes smoothly than this person. I don't understand why Shaizun is suddenly getting mad at me. I don't either. Cold War? Wow. Cut me and Lily some slack. Hey, I'm the new guy, remember? It's not like I could have done much even if I wanted. That's right. You shouldn't expect a transfer student to jump right into it on his first week. Lily taking my side feels oddly comforting, so I decide to back her up, too. Yeah, you're being unreasonable with us both. Excuses, excuses. This class rep has had plenty of time to deal with her report. And we repeatedly offered you a position to help with the student council work, but you refused to commit yourself to making the festival a success. Yeah, but as I said back then, I'm not sure if... I don't have the time for this right now. No matter what I do, it will mean being drawn into confrontation with Shaizun. That is what she wants. Whatever, forget it. I turn my back at them. Lily, class is going to be starting soon, so we can talk more later. I'll tell Hanako you were looking for her. I can feel Shaizun freezing. Maybe this is the first time she has ever been ignored in such a blunt manner. Thank you, Sal. I'll leave now then. She gives me the sweetest smile I've seen all week and turns on her heels to make her exit. As soon as Lily walks out the door, I suddenly start feeling reluctant about turning to face Shaizun. I can feel her eyes burning into my back and can't bring myself to look at her. She must be furious. I keep expecting Misha to say something to alleviate the tension, but it really is wanting too much. In the end, I go back to my seat and listen to the sound of Shaizun's footsteps as she marches out of the room. She doesn't return until a few minutes before class. Hanako doesn't come to the morning class at all, leaving her seat looking empty and lonely in the back of the classroom. I have to tell her that Lily was looking for her if I see her later. After the events of this morning, class is pretty boring in comparison. I turn the pages of my textbook lazily. I have a bit of catching up to do despite trying to keep up with my studies at the hospital, but I'm not feeling that enthusiastic about it. The clock at the front of the room sounds unbearably loud. The teacher hasn't said anything in over 7 minutes, instead opting to cover the board in rows and rows of equations taken directly from the book. The rhythmic clashing of chalk on blackboard seems to synchronize perfectly with the ticking of the clock. I gotta check on something. Yeah, okay. I start to copy down the equations just to pass the time, even though they are right there in the textbook. When the bell rings, I'm not in a hurry because I have nothing to do, so I stayed for a while, reviewing what we covered in class today. I prefer to leave last anyway, so I don't have to deal with crowding in the hallways. I notice Shaizun and Misha have already also stayed behind, talking to someone from another class. Shaizun's signing so fast that her hands make noises like swords cutting through the air. Maybe there is pent-up anger in there. Misha is trying desperately to keep up, but it's clear she can barely manage to even understand her. I put my head down. Whatever they're discussing, it looks like serious business. Shaizun signs to the point where her wrists crackle, and Misha struggles to spit it out in word form. Sometimes she trips over herself like she's dealing with tongue twisters, and then on top of that, She has to sign back anything the other girl says. Seems like a rough job. Misha looks tired, like she's about to faint. Luckily for her, their business is soon finished and the girls sit down on their seats again. Ah, I'm so tired. She's hanging her head limply on her desk, looking exhausted. I'll use the opportunity to reconcile with Shaizun a bit without getting roped into the student council thing again, though I suspect that door is now closed for me. Festival preparations must be tough for you. Indeed, the people in this school seem to be taking the festival very seriously. Whenever I see people idling around before and after classes, they're always talking about their plans for it. It's kind of neat to see everyone being so enthusiastic about it. I'm probably the only one who doesn't have something to do. Shaizun scoffs at me at first, as if trying to decide whether to ignore or sneer at me. But in the end, she starts signing without doing either. Misha perks up, looking at her hands with slightly unfocused eyes. She signs with harsh, heavy, dramatic strokes. Misha translates her signing into speech for me. She does it so well, it's almost like Shaizun is actually speaking, transmitting her thoughts directly through Misha. She must have practiced it vigorously. Well, of course, we're in the student council, you know, so we're pretty busy. It's an important duty of ours to ensure the success of the festival with all our strength. We would shame ourselves in front of the past student council generations if the festival were to fail. That's why there must be no flaws. I think that was encumbrances. No, nothing that might make the festival short of perfect. Shaizun's passionate speech and Misha's enacting are really oddly fitting of them. Oh, hello. I look over my shoulder and see Hanako peering timidly into the classroom, most of her body hidden behind the door. Hey, playing delinquent again? Hanako blushes hard at Misha's straightforward jab, even if it was only in jest. Shaizun stares at her probingly, causing Hanako to look down and start backing away to the point where only her fingers can be seen wrapped nervously around the edge of the door. Maybe she is showing her dislike of Hanako by association of her dislike of Lily. It appears so, and Hanako probably knows it as well. What is it, Hanako? Has Lily been here? Sorry, haven't seen Satao. She, came by in the morning, though. Hanako keeps looking uneasily at Shaizun, who stares back at her with unusual studying gaze. What is she trying to do? Of course, Shaizun isn't going to look away, and she is intimidated enough as it is, so I can only imagine how terrified Hanako would be. It is a little uncomfortable watching Hanako's reaction to Shaizun's normal behavior. This is what happens when two people of two different extremes meet, it seems. Dude, do you know where she is? If she has any sense in her head, she's in her classroom, working on their festival project. But who knows where that woman is loitering at? You need to find her? She was looking for you in the morning, but I guess you have missed each other. She waits a little without answering the simple question, looking awfully like she's not sure if it's proper to answer such a question. Yeah. I can come with you. If it's okay. Hanako nods fractionally, still on guard, her shoulders stiff like wood. I get the feeling that she might be more comfortable by herself after all, but it's too late to back off now. She has this really troubled expression she seems to wear almost constantly, one that makes me constantly be on guard myself. I wonder why. I kind of understand why she always seems to be so wary, or maybe more like why there could be a person like her. But I still have no idea how I should act around such a person. It's dinner time soon. Were you planning to eat with Lily? She nods lightly. So she must have been trying to get in the cafeteria. Well, there's something of a dinner crowd, just like the cafeteria is crowded during lunch. It's not as bad because dinner time is longer than lunch hour, but I can understand why Hanako could be discouraged from going in. I pick up my bag and we take our leave. Hanako skips a little to meet my initial pace, so I slow down to match her speed. It doesn't take long for us to be walking at a comfortable pace down the hallway. It almost feels like we're going for a stroll together, something that I can't say I've really done before with a girl. Hanako doesn't seem to be thinking the same thing though. Even though we are walking at the same pace, she never comes within arm's reach of me. I guess she's still a little uncomfortable around me. Given how shy she is, there doesn't seem to be much help in it, at least for now. By the time we arrive at the cafeteria, there's not much of a crowd there, but Lily is nowhere to be seen. Hanako's head sinks even lower than usual. Have you looked somewhere else already? Just at the library. I was reading. So she does spend the classes she skips at the library. Ah, so not exactly a thorough search then. Well, if I had to guess, she'd be in her own class like Shaizun said, right? Right. With the slightest of nods, Hanako agrees with my reasoning. She's being so awkward. It's like I need double-layered silk gloves with padding to even begin interacting with her. Some small talk might help her become a bit more used to me. It isn't hard to tell that the silence between us is hovering on the edge of both of our minds. So you and Lily usually hang out together after class, right? Yes. I'm not quite sure what I expected from her answers, nor why I even asked the question. That much was rather obvious, after all. She doesn't seem like the type to cultivate a social circle either, so I guess that Lily may well be her only friend. Must be a pain being in different classes, I'm guessing. She gives a sharp, almost reflective nod. Compared to Lily's careful thought about her actions and speech, Hanako hastens to make her answers as prompt as short as possible. Lily comes by the classroom, though, even when she's busy. She gives a small smile as she says it, evidently appreciating the fact that Lily goes out of her way to help her. It's pretty cute, really. There isn't any need to say more. Both of us content that the discussion's reached an end. As we ascend the stairs back to the lobby, we are met by a group of students heading downstairs like a school of fish, moving from one feeding area to another. They seem to be moving, keeping mostly to themselves, but before I can notice her doing so, Hanako has moved around behind me. Hey, are you alright? Just keep going. The students pass us without as much as a second glance, and Hanako takes up position to my side again as we enter the building. Her momentary reprieve from her anxiety all but snatched away. Even as we climb towards the third floor, she doesn't seem too relaxed. It isn't as if I've never known a shy person before, or even shy girls, but Hanako seems to be pretty far beyond what I'd call normal in her fear of other people. If it weren't for Lily acting as a mediator, I doubt Hanako would have been able to walk beside me like this. She seems to completely shut down in the presence of others. The rest of the walk up to Lily's classroom continues in strained silence while I rue her inability to socialize at all. After we make our way up the stairs, the noise coming from Lily's classroom is audible from halfway down the hallway. I wasn't expecting such a din at all. Well, I guess we found her. This wasn't hard. Did Hanako come here first and come to me for backup, I wonder? Well, if that's true, then at least she's starting to trust me a little. That can only be a good thing. Eventually, the two of us reach the door to Class 3-2, with Hanako less than subtly positioning herself behind me. I open the door. Inside is a hive of activity, seemingly every student in the class talking at once as they work hurriedly on their separate tasks. Going by the paint cans, decorations, and banners being made, it must be for the upcoming school festival. I guess my first priority should be finding Lily. There. Finding her among the din is surprisingly easy, not the least because of her looks. With a couple of students gathered around her as she stands at the front of the class, she seems to be in charge of the preparations, or at least busy organizing them. Am I still on Act 1? Carefully negotiating a path through the various students, hunched over the floor for the lack of desk space, I raise a hand entirely out of habit as we finally reach Lily. Hi, Lily. She perks her head up as she breaks off talking to a noticeably smaller girl who must be her classmate trying to listen as best as she can. Sorry, who? Oh, sorry, Hisao. I have Hanako, too. Hi. She's pretty skittish, considering the number of people around. It isn't too hard to work out why. Lily takes a moment's pause to assess the situation before turning to the other student once again. For the moment, just ask Moria for his advice. Kinchi's busy with painting one of the banners already. A quick nod and she bounces off, fingers carefully sliding across the wall space for orientation. Wait, Kenji? That Kenji? I quickly turn about, leaning to the side to see past Hanako. Sure enough, in the corner of the room, Kenji's hunched over a sheet of cloth as he paints it. His eyes remain only inches from the brush, reminding me of how close he had to be to make out my face when I met him. Sorry about that. Our class doesn't have many students with even partial eyesight, so they're in high demand. That's right, class 3-2, especially for, I don't know, especially something. For students with poor vision, preparing for the festival must be pretty arduous for them. Need a hand? I would give you help if you need some. Maybe Hanako could too? A chance to set her mind on something would do her good, but I doubt she has the courage to ask outright. She quickly nods in affirmation afterwards, so I am confident I made the right move. Lily gives a noticeable sigh of relief. Ah, that's good. This might actually get finished before everyone goes off to dinner now. Would you be able to help the person painting the main banner? It's a big task for him to do, but nobody else can help. Kenji? Sure. She seems surprised that I know him. I can't really blame her. I take it you've met? Our rooms in the dorm are right next to each other. Hard to miss each other, really. Well, it's good to see you're getting friends so fast. Friend. I wonder if that's the right word to use for him. Hanako's silence during the proceedings reminds me of the reason I put her up to helping in the first place. We'll go help him then. He knows what needs doing, right? That's right. Just ask if you have any problems. Chorusing in assent, Hanako and I begin another trek across the classroom. Kenji sits crouched on the floor, his gaze fixed on the white calico in front of him. Hey, Kenji. No answer. He continues dragging his paint-soaked brush along the large, half-painted kanji that's stretched on the sheet in pencil. Kenji? Huh? What? Who is it? If this is the way he treats classroom members, it's no small wonder he's working on this alone. It's Mia, Sal. Right, I know that, man. What are you doing here, though? His dismissive attitude annoys me. He must be the type to really get focused on his work, hating to be disturbed by anyone until he's done, I suppose. While we talk, the sound of Hanako's footsteps as she walks out from behind me reminds me that she's here. I was just going to help with the banner. Hanako and I, that is. Hello. Oh. Hey. I guess that's okay. As soon as Hanako enters the equation, his demeanor takes a complete about-face. His sudden full hospitality is slightly unsettling. Oh, right. Women. On second thought, this may not have been a great idea after all. Hanako and I grudgingly set ourselves down on the opposite side of the cloth banner to Kenji, noting the several small paint tins on the ground around it. Class 3-2, noodle stall? You guys selling noodles at the festival on Sunday? Yeah, some stalls outside or something. Or something. His non-committal nature sparks a fair amount of suspicion on my behalf. The task at hand comes first, though. So how do you want to split this? We do borders while you do the text, or do you want to switch and do the borders? Text is mine. You do borders. He has surprisingly strong feelings on the topic. As I reach over to grab a brush, I notice Hanako is already debating between colors to use. By the time I put brush to cloth, she's already started on a delicate pattern. Looks like my idea of taking her mind off of everyone around her worked. With a dark blue stroke, the three of us silently get to work. Now before Kenji takes advantage of Hanako's working to lean towards me and whisper conspiratorially, though. Okay man, why are you here? Hanako just wanted some help to find Lily, that's all. He apparently disapproves of my motivations. I get it. It looks like I misjudged you. You're infiltrating them, aren't you? Going deep undercover? I should have guessed. Letting the truth slip by him would probably be better than outright lying or annoying him in any case. Is that why you're here? Obviously. It sucks, but there's no better way to get intel than going in yourself. We gotta stick together, man. This is a harsh school. A harsh world. Yes, very harsh. He misses my true meaning as he leans back, satisfied I'm sympathetic to his cause. I'd better get back to work. Finished. Looks like I am too. Good job. Two of us connect up the lines of her patterns, mine being as close as copy as I could manage of hers. With a grunt, I lever myself up from the floor and look around. Aside from Hanako and myself, there's only Kenji left, finishing off a sign as well as Lily, and a couple of students talking among themselves in the classroom. Looking at my watch, it's no surprise. It's getting pretty late. Need a hand? I offer a hand to Hanako, which she uses to get herself up. As she does, I can't help but glance at her wrist. If her scars extend even to there, just how much of her body was burned. I feel a pang of guilt about it, however, as she quickly covers her wrist with her other hand. Looks good, doesn't it? She looks surprised for a moment before noticing that I mean the banner. It does, I guess. Her smile shows that she feels a slight sense of pride in the result, just as I do. With the floor significantly neater for the decorations being placed on desks and shelves, it's much easier to get to Lily as we cross the room. We finished the banner. I guess that's all that needs to be done. Lily gives an appreciative nod. Thank you, Hisao, Hanako. If there's any way I can thank you. It's fine. Be sitting in my room studying at any rate. I don't mind either. She nods before suddenly remembering one last person. Oh, is Kenji still here? Just as I open my mouth, Kenji gives the answer from the other side of the room. Yeah, just finished. Carefully slides his sign onto an empty section of shelf to dry, before quickly walking past us and out the door. See you, man. Bye. The remaining two students say their goodbyes to Lily before taking their cue to leave as well, leaving only three of us. Well, I guess that's everyone. I hope we don't have to do anything like that again. Working past school time? Indeed, the class's plans this year were ambitious, maybe too ambitious. The stalls look nice though. She's right, it shows that a lot of work's gone into them. My, I'm sure a lot of us would be glad to hear that. At least now there's not much work to do into the festival itself. It's getting pretty late. Should we go? That's probably a good idea. Are you going back to the dorms as well, Hisao? Yeah, I guess I'll tag along. The nighttime lighting really makes the gardens look quite different compared to... Darn it, I just skipped it. Being that it's so late, the lack of students around probably helps. The odd one or two can be seen scurrying to and from the dorms trying to eke the most out of their approaching curfews, but no more. All that can be heard is our footsteps, in addition to Lily's cane regularly, gently tapping the ground in front of her. It's nice to finally be able to relax a bit after the mad rush during school. Without even noticing it, I let out a small yawn. Tired? Yeah, still getting used to the flow of things, I guess. The thing with Shaizun took me kinda off guard, though. I grit my teeth a little at the candid mention of their rather public spat. That said, I do want to sort out what in the world was behind it. About that. I'm sorry about it being so public. Shaizun and I go back some ways. Her voice seemed slightly irritated as she remembers Shaizun, obviously unwilling to discuss it any further. I glanced at Hanako for her views on this, but her expression is unsurprisingly evasive and difficult to read. Either way, I guess her apologizing for it is something, even if my curiosity goes unanswered. I'll be glad once the festival is over, in any case. The change of topic is welcome, clearing the thickening air quickly. I can imagine my old school's festivals were a lot more low-key than this. Yamaku stresses the idea of a school community, so the staff likes to make our festivals on such special occasions. And yet the students are the ones who do the work. What an unfair world. Hanako and Lily both chuckle in agreement, savoring the fact that none of the staff are around to hear our grumbling. I suppose coming from a strict all-girls school helped me a bit with Yamaku. Compared to there, Yamaku is much more relaxed. That'd go way towards explaining her well-bred speech and behavior in any case. As we come up to the dormitories, it eventually comes to time to leave for our respective rooms. See ya, Lily, Hanako. The two both give polite nods before setting off to the women's dorms, just next to the guys. As is to be expected of such an arrangement, there is a staff member casually patrolling around outside to prevent any nighttime shenanigans. Walking past him, I quickly stretch my arms and rub my neck, both quite sore after having worked on the floor for so long before walking to my room. It feels good to actually have direction, though after so long in the hospital, the everyday facts of studying, homework, and teachers seems almost a blessing. I guess if things continue like this, my time at Yamaku might turn out okay. Adhering to the nurse's nagging voice in the back of my head, I set my alarm clock to wake me up early enough to go jogging again. I made a promise and I'm going to keep it. Besides, Emmy is bound to rat on me if I don't show up. But it's not all that bad. End of Act 1! Please! Please! Oh, geez. Still going. My morning alarm goes off and I flail about uselessly for a while until I remember that I decided to give morning runs another shot. I don't know if this was my greatest idea, but I'm determined to keep going. This is about my health after all. Sure, things haven't been great lately for me, but that hasn't made existence so intolerable that I'm not going to try everything I can to stay healthy. Besides, it's all about asserting some kind of control over this thing, right? If I can manage that, well, I can manage anything. At least that's what I keep telling myself. Once again, it would appear that I'm not alone in my run. Emmy has apparently been here for some time. It looks like she's already worked up a good sweat. Just when the hell does she come down here anyway? Oh, it's you! I'm surprised to see you again. Why is that? Well, not many people actually manage to come back for a second try. She frowned, seemingly annoyed by a passing thought. Like the rest of the track team, for instance. Still, it was only supposed to be on a volunteer basis, so it's not that big of a shock. And I guess it's pretty early in the morning. A shrug and suddenly, it appears that she's forgotten what she's talking about. The frown disappears entirely and she seems to snap back to her previous train of thought. So, come on then. What? You're here to run again, right? Well, yes. So come on! I find myself suddenly grabbed and yanked onto the track. Things seem to be set on mirroring yesterday's run. That is, I seem to be struggling while Emmy moves with an effortlessness that I find enviable. It's incredibly bothersome to be so easily worn out. I know I should be patient, work towards things gradually, but it's difficult to stay positive about this. We round the track and start on our second lap. Emmy seems to have grown impatient, keeping pace with me, and begins to pull away. This is where I gave out yesterday. Will I be able to do more? I don't know. Can you? Can you do more? Alright, yeah, that one. Take it easy. I let Emmy go with her own pace and she doesn't show mercy, pulling half a lap ahead of me in an instant. I don't blame her. I mean, it's not as if I'm really putting up any sort of real fight out here, is it? Instead, I'm just running at a steady pace, which is what I should be doing, right? There's no need to go pushing my limits at this stage of the game. Is this even worth it? As we finish the second lap, I break off again. Emmy keeps going, and it almost seems to me that she's disappointed. Well, that's stupid. I don't have anything to prove to her. Come to think of it, I've got nothing to prove to myself either. I'm just fine the way I am. What if I'm not? I'm not a runner. And what I'm not is a runner? Oh, that was a weird sentence. This was probably a bad idea. Maybe there's something else I can do instead of this. Getting up this early sucks anyway. There's got to be some other way to keep healthy. Walking, maybe. Nice afternoon walks. Yeah, that sounds good. Running isn't for me. I wave to Emmy and head back to my room. I'll think of something later. Back in my room, the first thing I see is a familiar row of medication bottles lined up on my top of my dresser, and it makes me depressed as usual. It's annoying. I thought I was okay. I thought I had made my peace with this thing, gotten over it. But what I really did, I allowed myself to forget that I have a problem. Being here really reminds me of the reality, and trying to fight against it just hurts. Reflecting on it is only going to do so much. I've done this before, 4 months. It seems like it's time to get over it. If I allow myself to forget what my life is definitely not going to be as long as those others, I won't get anywhere. You know, those kind of sentences where you have the comma and you have the point of the sentence at the end, that's the subject. You really should switch the sentence around to where you don't need the comma. Because if you have too many sentences like that, where you have the comma and then you have the subject at the end of the sentence, so somebody has to read the entire sentence before they get to the subject of the sentence, and then you've got to have the comma, which is a break, like a pause. It's not something you should really do in writing too often. It's fine once in a while, but after a while, that kind of stuff to a reader can get irritating. So, I've been reading this for a long time now, and I've noticed a lot of improper comma use. I'm not really one to say it too often, but there's a lot of improper comma use in this. But I really like the game, so whatever, continue. My life may be different from others, but it is a life in progress. That is how I'll rationalize it. And I sure like how they try to use like really big words. You know, like I know what they mean. I know how to say them. I know how to pronunciate these words. I know how to speak it. But it's so weird, you know, reading all this, because it gives you like all these big words that are supposed to drive home like a bigger impact. Now, if I haven't played this game yet, and I was playing through the first act and seeing how long as this first act has gone on, I mean seriously, I've made like 5 videos already on it that are like almost 20 to 40 minutes to almost an hour long each. I haven't even gotten past Act 1. Act 2 and Act 3 is when you start actually making decisions on, how Hasao is going to go through, Yamaku Academy. 1, I don't like the comma use. 2, Act 1 is way too long. You're trying to put way too much emphasis on the game, and it never really gets to the point fast enough. 3, stop with the big word use. Not everybody understands those words, and they're just going to be irritated trying to understand what the word is, and that'll put off somebody. You know, somebody that doesn't have any dedication to reading any of that or understanding what those huge words like indifferentiation, differentiation and, standard deviation or whatever, let's go into the statistics. But I mean, like, just huge words. I mean, incongruity. I mean, that's one word I can't ever say. And it's like every time I see it, it's like, why do you use that word? If I can't say it, I can barely read it, and I kind of know what it means. It's like, why do you use that then? You just lost me. As a reader, you just lost me. It's not a fucking word I can relate to. So stop with the huge ass word use. I can understand the complexity and feel the need that it's going to be important, but that's not something you should do to a reader. Always write something as simple to understand for the reader as possible. The main point is to get the story across. And stop with the fucking comma use. Every time you put down a fucking comma, somebody has to do a pause. And I stutter, I mumble, I do my own little pauses and stuff. But that little fucking comma, like this right here, here's another one. It's like, stop it. Not every single sentence has to have a fucking comma. Because what that does is it derails the reader. It doesn't provide emphasis after a while. The main use of a comma is to make a reader pause to think about something they've just read in order to provide emphasis. If you're going to put too many fucking commas in there, you just derail the fucking reader. It's like, if I read one single sentence, the blue jay, comma, walked out on the tree branch, comma, sat down in its nest, comma, and fed its little chicks. You see how it just derailed anybody listening to that? The blue jay rocked out onto the tree branch and sat in the nest and fed her little chicks. Just run it along. Tell the story. Keep it going. Only use commas for emphasis sparingly. See? Here's another comma. And usually you do not fucking put something like this as right here. This does not provide emphasis, as usual. Then I prepare to head out to class early. There. You don't need that. You don't need this. Cross it out. You let the reader decide if this is a usual occurrence to Hasao. You don't decide for the fucking reader. You let the reader decide how they want to interpret the story. Anyways, God, I'm way too emotional. Alright. Yeah, this is a good stopping point. But anyways, this is a really, really good game. When you get to Act 2 and Act 3, when you get past all this exposition and introduction shit, it's really, really, really good. So, wait. Which one was I doing? Oh, I'll just do that one. Anyways, I'm getting too emotional. Too tired. My throat's dry. Too much reading. And that common use just threw me overboard. Anyways, that's going to do it for this video. I want to thank you for watching. Feel free to leave a comment. I hope you have yourself a good day. I love you. And this is Sweet Tooth, signing off.